The third cut did not tear the poison knot free. It exposed the root beneath it. For one suspended breath, Lin Fan saw the structure of his own spirit root more clearly than any elder of Azure Cloud sect had ever bothered to see. Low-grade wood on the surface, yes. Thin. Uneven. Starved by poor chi. But beneath the warped secondary veins, a narrow green-black thread ran through the root junction, compressed by residue and early injury. Not high-grade. Not heaven-sent. Not some secret divine root waiting to blind the sect. Better than that. It was changeable. A root born weak but not fixed. A root that could accept grafting, cutting, poison refinement, marrow feeding, and forbidden reconstruction without collapsing too quickly. In his first life, he had survived impossible cultivation methods partly because this root bent where stronger roots would have shattered. He had mistaken that flexibility for luck. Now he recognized material. Unrefined. Ugly. Useful. The pillar could not classify it because the pillar was built to measure grade, not adaptability. Lin Fan guided the array's pull toward the green-black thread. The moment contact occurred, the observer's ring trembled once. Not warning. Interest. Lin Fan ignored it. The Forbidden Method's fourth layer unfolded from the memory core in broken segments. Some details were missing. A term for a pulse sequence had burned away in death. Two diagrams of root rotation had fused into one blurred shape. The original method assumed a higher cultivation base than his current body possessed. He adjusted. Reduce pull by half. Replace missing pulse with heartbeat rhythm. Use pillar array for external pressure. Use pain response as timing. Accept incomplete exposure. Do not reforge fully. The plan formed and executed in the same breath. The pillar's silver veins brightened. Outside, the glow around Lin Fan's hand thickened from weak green into a clearer, deeper color. It still did not surge high. It still did not proclaim a rare grade. That was deliberate. But the quality of the light changed enough that even the dullest disciples noticed. "Why is it getting clearer?" someone whispered. "Is the pillar broken?" It did not do that for the others. Zhang Hu's follower forced a laugh. Maybe low-grade roots look strange before failing. No one laughed with him. Elder Gu stood very still. His eyes were fixed not on the height of the glow, but on its stability. He had seen weak roots flare before. Panic, hidden stimulants, bad circulation, damaged pillars, all could produce momentary jumps. But Lin Fan's light was not flaring wildly. It was clearing, thread by thread, like mud settling out of water under an unseen hand. That should not happen during a test. Elder Gu knew it. Lin Fan knew he knew. The danger line moved closer. He needed the result to remain ambiguous. Inside, he pressed the loosened poison residue into a dormant ring around the root junction. The ring formed poorly, jagged at 3 points. Later it would cause fever, cramps, and perhaps blood loss if not treated before nightfall. Acceptable. He had no intention of sleeping through the night. The green-black thread beneath the root responded to the new space. It opened slightly. The body nearly fainted. Lin Fan narrowed his consciousness to 3 points. Palm. Breath. Root. Everything else became irrelevant. The square, the laughter, Zhang Hu, Elder Gu, the observer, the previous life, heavily void peak, Suwan's blood, Qin Mo's ruined eye, the black chain beyond death. All of it moved to the outer ring of awareness. At the center remained a weak body and one chance to alter the direction of its foundation. The green-black thread pulled in chi. Not from the pillar. From Lin Fan's own blood. That was expected, but unpleasant. The young body's blood was thin. The root drank greedily from what little vitality existed. Lin Fan felt cold spread through his fingers. His lips might have paled. He adjusted circulation before anyone could notice, pushing warmth toward the face and leaving the feet numb instead. Feet could be numb. Faces told stories. The spirit root pillar's glow climbed again. Second vein. Stable. Then, slowly, it rose toward the third. The steward forgot to breathe. The crowd leaned forward as one body. Zhang Hu said, "No." It was not loud. Lin Fan heard it. The glow touched the third vein. The pillar gave a low sound, uncertain and deep. Murmurs burst across the square. Third vein? Mid-grade? But it was weak just now. Can roots change during the test? Impossible. Impossible. The favorite word of people whose world had been small enough to trust. Lin Fan kept the glow at the third vein for 3 heartbeats. 1. Elder Gu stepped closer. 2. The steward's brush trembled above the register. 3. Zhang Hu's face lost color. Then Lin Fan let the light drop. Not all the way. It settled just below the third vein, clear but unstable. The square exhaled in confusion. That confusion was better than awe. Elder Gu frowned. "Hold," he said. The command carried chi. Lin Fan's body wanted to obey before his will judged the order. The elder's cultivation far exceeded his current realm, and the pressure settled over his shoulders like a cold hand. Outer disciples around the platform lowered their heads instinctively. The steward stepped back. Lin Fan remained with his palm against the pillar. He did not resist the command openly. He used it. Elder Gu's chi pressure stabilized the outer layer of the body for a moment. Lin Fan took that borrowed stillness and drove the diagnostic method deeper by a hair. The 5th layer opened. This was no longer diagnosis. This was the first movement of reforging. He did not have the materials to complete it. No medicinal bath, no marrow needles, no root cleansing pills, no quiet chamber, no protective array. Attempting full reforging here would be stupidity wearing courage as a mask. But a mark could be placed. A future path could be cut. Lin Fan guided the pillar's pull into the green-black thread and twisted. The spirit root convulsed. Pain became soundless. The body's hearing vanished. For one moment, the square disappeared. Lin Fan stood in a narrow internal darkness around the root junction. The weakwood root hung before him like a half-rotted vine. The poison ring circled it. Beneath it, the green-black thread pulsed once, then split at the tip into 2 tiny branches. One branch followed wood. The other bent toward something not yet formed. Reforged roots did not appear by wishing. They required direction. In the future, Lin Fan could choose poisonwood, bloodwood, shadowwood, devouring wood, or several rarer paths depending on resources. Each path had strengths. Each path had costs. He would not decide today. Today, he needed the root to know it could split. He carved a command into the thread with pain. Remain open. Do not heal crooked. Await material. The thread accepted. The cost arrived immediately. Blood rose in his throat. Lin Fan swallowed it. The taste of iron spread across his tongue. Outside, sound returned. The square was louder than before. Disciples were arguing in whispers too urgent to remain whispers. The steward was looking at Elder Gu, waiting for instruction. Elder Gu was looking at Lin Fan's hand, then at his face. Lin Fan's face remained calm. That calm had begun to disturb people more than the pillar. Weak disciples trembled during ordinary tests. Mid-grade disciples grinned or cried. High-grade disciples looked stunned by fortune. Lin Fan stood with a root being cut open inside his body and gave the world nothing. Elder Gu noticed. His eyes moved from Lin Fan's hand to his brow, then to his throat, then to his feet. He is looking for pain signs, Lin Fan thought. Good eye. Not good enough. Lin Fan shifted the last visible tremor into his left sleeve. The fabric hid the movement. Sweat threatened to gather at the temple. He cooled the skin by slowing blood flow near the scalp. Dangerous, but brief. The glow inside the pillar rose again. It did not climb fast. It did not flare like a false stimulant. It moved with slow, stubborn clarity toward the third vein. The slow rise tormented the square more effectively than a sudden burst. A sudden burst could be dismissed. A trick. A pill. A damaged pillar. A desperate surge that would vanish before anyone's fear had time to change shape. Slow clarity forced witnesses to watch their assumptions lose ground inch by inch. It gave them time to remember what they had said. It gave Xianxia time to understand that every laugh from earlier still hung in the air, waiting to turn back toward him. Lin Fan chose the pace deliberately. The pillar's array wanted to rush once the obstruction loosened. He restrained it, feeding the response through the lower delay so the glow climbed with the appearance of natural correction. Natural enough to be arguable. Abnormal enough to be remembered. That balance mattered. The sect valued talent, but feared mysteries it could not own. If he showed a clean high-grade route, he would become property of the inner mountain by noon. If he showed only low-grade contamination, he would gain pity at best and remain trapped in the mud. An unstable mid-grade response with abnormal residue offered a third path: investigation, temporary protection, access to resources, and confusion among enemies. Confusion was a room with many doors. Lin Fan only needed one. The pain climbed with the light. Every fraction closer to the third vein pulled more vitality from his blood. His stomach clenched around emptiness. His back felt cold while his root burned. A faint ringing entered his ears, not from the pillar, but from the body's warning that consciousness was narrowing. He loosened one old memory and let it surface. Heavenly void peak collapsing inward. The red execution blade through his chest. The black chain claiming his soul. Compared to that, this pain was small. Not harmless. Small. He pressed the comparison into the body until the body stopped insisting that the current wound was the end of the world. The body did not become brave. It became obedient. That was enough. Bravery was too unstable to rely on. It rose when flattered and vanished when cornered. Obedience, properly trained, functioned whether the flesh trembled or not. This body had never been trained for such obedience, so Lin Fan trained it during the wound itself. Each wave of pain became an order. Each order obeyed carved a narrow channel between will and flesh. Later, that channel would matter. When he entered the abandoned spirit mine, when he soaked in the medicinal pool beneath the third outer mountain, when he cut the poison ring apart piece by piece, this body would remember that pain did not grant permission to disobey. The pillar's glow responded to the internal command. Clearer. Higher. Uncertain. Elder Gu took in every change with sharpened eyes. He was too experienced to gasp, too practical to be swept away by the crowd's excitement. But his right thumb moved once against his sleeve. Lin Fan saw the tiny motion reflected in the pillar's polished surface. Interest. Calculation. Concern. The elder was already asking how much this abnormality might cost to investigate and how much it might profit the sect if corrected. That was the correct question for him. It would keep him from choosing immediate punishment. It would also keep him from leaving Lin Fan alone for long. The window narrowed. Lin Fan had narrowed windows before. During siege battles when a formation shield failed for 3 breaths. During tribulations when lightning exposed a flaw in heavenly law for less than a blink. During negotiations where one word spoken before another decided whether an ally became a corpse or a useful traitor. Time rarely arrived as a broad road. More often, it arrived as a crack between 2 closing stones. This body was too weak to force the stones apart. So he moved through the crack. The pillar's glow hovered at the edge of the third vein. Elder Gu's attention sharpened. The steward's brush waited. Xianxia's confidence shook. The observer watched. The poison ring strained. All forces converged on one small point inside Lin Fan's root. He placed the mark there. Not with words. With a controlled wound. The green-black thread opened enough to remember being open. That memory was the seed of reforging. Seeds were not trees. That distinction mattered. The morning would not give him strength enough to defeat Zhang Hu head-on, much less challenge elders or old enemies. It gave direction. A weak root with direction could outperform a stronger root wasted by arrogance, but only if every next step fed the opening before it healed wrong. He would need herbs. He would need clean qi. He would need isolation. And he would need the sect to remain busy explaining what it had seen while he moved toward what it had missed. Explanations were cages people built around uncertainty. Lin Fan intended to let Azure Cloud sect build several, each one around an empty center. While they argued over which cage held him, he would already be elsewhere. Not physically far at first. Distance meant little without strength. Elsewhere meant one decision ahead, one locked cabinet opened, one careless steward used, one night path taken before anyone decided he required guarding. Small separations accumulated. By the time the sect understood the first, the second would already exist. The steward whispered, "Elder, this." Elder Gu lifted one hand. The steward stopped. Zhang Hu stared at the pillar as if hatred could push the light down. Lin Ro stood with both hands pressed to the strap of her patched satchel, eyes wide. She was not laughing. She was not smiling either. She looked as if she were watching someone walk across thin ice and only she could hear the cracking. Lin Fan noted that. Empathy sharpened her perception in inconvenient ways. The third vein lit fully. The pillar hummed. Then a thin black line appeared within the green light. Only for a breath. Lin Fan closed his inner grip at once. Too much. The green-black thread had responded beyond expectation. The black line vanished, but not before Elder Gu saw it. His pupils narrowed. Lin Fan withdrew the Forbidden Method's fifth layer and sealed the root junction as tightly as he could without collapsing the new split. The pain did not lessen. It changed direction. Instead of cutting, it crushed. The poison ring pressed against the open root. The Dantian gate spasmed. Blood tried to rise again. The body wanted to stagger. Lin Fan remained still. Elder Gu's voice came low. Continue. It was no longer routine instruction. It was a test inside the test. Lin Fan looked at the pillar. The old classification had been destroyed. The new one struggled to form. Low-grade wood root. Mid-grade fluctuation. Unknown impurity. Abnormal purity shift. Possible hidden secondary attribute. The pillar could not choose. Lin Fan intended to let it fail gracefully. He began the final movement.